every bit as important as the Harris and Allen is for the first. And there's been some interesting games. Last night, Narberth beat Neyland. Neyland got 115 for 8 with a strong team. Steve Murray, 40. Narberth got it for 3 wickets. Llew Jones, a talented young boy, didn't play as much as he might do, 49. And Harry Phillips had 4 for 32. So they go through. In the other games this week, Criselli easily beat Hook, 85 for 2, 84 for 9. Criselli, Archie Hilliard had 43, not out, a youngster, and an old-timer, Matthew Lewis, took 3 for 20. That's the nice thing, Tom. All the age range. Great. I got a little bit after about, we like Shakespeare, what's in a rose? What's in a name? A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Well, it seems to me Charlie is the name if you want to be a good cricketer. We talk about that a bit later on. People think I'm a raving lunatic now. Pembroke 100 all out. Nick Borrett 29, and my old pal Kevin Jenkins, the best captain I ever played under. He's now about 60 odd and still going strong for Pembroke. He had 19. Ollie Davis 4 for 21, and they beat Saundersfoot, who had 99 for 6. 1 run, Tom.
Oh.
1 run. And I feel sorry for Saundersfoot, but pleased for Pembroke. Dominic Green, but the Seasiders had 37. And the ubiquitous Kevin Jenkins, 4 for 29. He'll be aching still today, but he's the club chairman. He does a great job there. Everybody likes Jenks, so I'm pleased for him there. Saundersfoot, 99 for 6, after Burton has scored 175 for 4. And Martin James had 92 not out for Burton. He's in the middle of a golden patch. In the last week, his 3 scores have been 19, what did he have there? 92 not out, 94 not out, and 40 not out. So his average at the end of the season is going to be pretty impressive. Well done, Jama. Phil Rees also played well for Burton. He had 5 for 17. Carew had a big win over Haverfordwest, who could only muster 107 for 7, despite Paul Tuff's 32. Carew 111 for naught in about 10.5 overs. Tom Scurfield was playing there. When he's going well, he's a joy to watch. 77 not out. And the old head on young shoulders, Scott Richards at 25 not out, playing the perfect accompaniment to it. So easy win there. Herb Branston lost to Langham. 133 all out Langham. And then Narberth, Herbie were 109 for 6. Alan McClelland, an old rugby player I know well and a former pupil of mine, 29. Toby Asson took 3 for 6 for Langham. Narberth we've mentioned. And the last one, which took place last night, is a good game of cricket. Whitland at 144 for 9 at Imberlane, Pembroke Dock. And the Dock got 135 for 9, so they lost by 9 runs. Peter Kingdom, who's known as the Ghost in Pembroke Dock, or the Shadow, he had 44, Will and Pete. And Ed John, who has his own pharmacy in Clynderwen, he had time off work and got 48 for Whitland. So that's the 7 games. And sadly then, Llechryd couldn't get a team to travel to St. Ishmael's. Now, it's a long way. It's probably the longest trip. But I think Llechryd called that game off a while ago. And it's a great pity because I just feel clubs shouldn't enter unless they're fully committed. I'm sorry to say it. But it's a pity they couldn't get a team because Llechryd, a fantastic club, great facilities. Have you ever been to Llechryd Ground, Tom?
I haven't been to the ground, no. I've driven through Llechryd. I have found it.
Yes. Well, it's just inside the border of Pembrokeshire, the ground, and it's the Llechryd Cricket and Tennis Club. And they've got tennis courts there. The pavilion is superb and a good crowd of boys. So I'm sad they didn't get a team for that.
Yeah, I did drive through Hook the other day, and it's wonderful seeing a cricket green in the middle of the village, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sprawly old place, Hook. It seems to me as if it's been added. It's like a Lego place. It's been added on and added on. It springs up, and it's sprawled out. But there's a team that has produced over the years some of the biggest characters I've ever come across in local cricket. There's a wicketkeeper called Martin Rees, who's known as Stavros to everybody. And he kept wicket. He would never let me take a picture of him knowingly. As soon as he saw me, he'd shut his eyes or stick his tongue out. And there's people like him and Keith James and Jamie Phelps who's still going strong. Far too old to be playing cricket. Got one of the nicest wives in the county, and they're real characters. It's a good place, Hook.
Oh, that's nice. One score that caught my eye there as well, Carew with 111, Tom Schofield 77. There's nothing quite like seeing a batsman on his day, is there?
Tom must have been on fire there because, Haverfordwest are not a bad second team by any means. They're playing in Division 3, which is one of the highest, places for a club in the second, with the second team. Burton are the same. They got strong size, good mixtures of old and young. It's nice. We're talking about someone, I can't say old is a lady, I got to be careful. We're going to be talking about someone after who's remarkable. I tell you, there's a cricketer now. Talking about averages.
Yeah, I'm excited to pick out these individuals a little bit later on. But let's look at that was for seconds teams. Let's look at Division 1, Division 2. We've just mentioned Carew. They are doing very well in both Division 1 and 2 at the moment. Well, particularly Division 1.
They're led by Sean Whitfield, who's a very, very good cricketer. When I heard he was captain for Sean, won't mind me saying, I thought, interesting. He's been inspirational. He leads by example. He bats really well. He can hit the ball like a bullet, and he bowls well. And he's an astute guy, so they're doing well at the moment. And it's nice to see Carew in the top 3 or 4. Every club has its day. Ask Haverfordwest that, and but. They're playing tomorrow against Langham, who are 6th, and I had thought that Langham might press for the title this year, but they'll have to buck their ideas if they want to do that. They're a side of great attacking players. You very rarely see Langham with wasting wickets at the end of an innings. But they've just got to put the foot on the brake a bit. They're a bit like, I'd say that they're a bit like the England team at the moment. Now, they attack from the start. But they've always done that. So they.
But of course, Langham did the same last season. They were a middle to low table team, and then they ended up in the top. Did they finish top 3 or top 4 in the end? They had a real resurgence.
If they go on a run, they're led by Matthew Kiff, he's taken on the captaincy and he's grown with it. His batting at the moment is sublime. He's taken up bowling again and bowls well. His brother Joe's a key player, but they got so many good players. Noah Davis, the Inwood brothers. Sadly, Chris, Steve is injured at the moment. Chris is okay, and they've got so many really, really good players. William Beresford, one of the best wicketkeeper batsmen in the county. So they need to just tighten up a bit, I think.
Yeah. But my pick of the fixtures tomorrow, a bit of a surprise actually, because they nearly went down. If you remember, St Ishmael's sit 3rd, and they're taking on Neyland to a top.
Well, they're being boosted at the moment with Jonathan Pollitt, and he's played for St Ishmael's for many years. His dad and his dad's 2 brothers were key players for many years, but he's scoring runs for fun. He had a big knock for the county senior team last weekend, but he had 100 odd last week, and he's such an aggressive batsman and bowls as well. So I think St Ishmael's a sort of moulding around. Brennan Devonald has grown into a very fine all-rounder. They've still got Peter Bradshaw, who's one of the nicest cricketers I have ever met, and his mum, Mrs. B, Wendy, scores for him. She keeps everything together at Tish. They all call her Auntie Wendy there, which is a bit insulting, I think. But Neyland at another side that keep going. When you think this season, Tom, they've probably had games where they've had 4 or 5 or 6 players out, but they've got such a strong squad. They got a few boys working at Hinkley Point who can't get home all the time, but they're the other side. Of course, Sean Hannon has set the high standard there. Paul Murray, I could go on forever there. Nick Cooman, Ross Hardy, they're great sides. So there's some very good teams. And that game, St Ishmael's against Neyland, that will take some winning, I can tell you that.
Yes, definitely. And we mentioned this last week. Haverfordwest will be pleased that they're doing well in Division 2, having been disappointed that they're there in the first place.
Yeah, they've gained 1 player this year. A young fella, Lally, his name is. I've forgotten his first name. It'll come to me in a minute. He is some player. He's from Yorkshire originally. He's working down here. How long he'll stay in Pembrokeshire, because I know he's got work to do in Carmarthenshire as well, he was telling me. He's given them a real boost in the batting stakes. Bowling-wise, they've got the James brothers, Ashley and Adam. I was talking to Adam this week, known as the Viking. He's done a little bit of these challenges where you lift crazy weights and things like that. And I really pleased this week. I just happened to go past the ground in Haverford. I popped in, and Adam is a big, strong, fiery guy. He once won a Harrison Allen final on his own, where he hadn't played for about 4 weeks. Came in and scored 2 lots of 80 in about 10 overs, and he was scoring for the ladies' team there. And I was totally taken away. I took a picture. He tried to dodge it, but I got a picture as evidence that the big guy, the Viking, is really a gentle giant at heart. So,
he is.
I'm pleased for Haverford. They're playing Carew, who are 8th. That's the second team. Fraser's team 7th. Llanrhian, they're playing Pembroke Dock, who are 5th. Hook against Lechlade. That's an interesting game. 2nd against 4th. And Hook are a team of very, very talented youngsters. If they can stick together, they'll have boys who go off to university. That's the trouble. But that's the side. And Lechlade have got 3 or 4 very, very good players with some fine support players. So Whitland are another team on the up. They were automatically in the first division for many years. They're starting to come back now a bit. So, people will be looking to see how they get on this weekend. They're at Cresselly seconds, who's struggling. They really have been struggling for a team. But they're coming back a bit now with players coming home. So lots to play for there. And Johnson, who are 10th, play Kilgetty, who are 6th. Johnson have had a couple of players rally around and rejoin them or come from other clubs. So they're on the up a little bit. They won one game. They got smashed again last week. I went to the ground to watch what I thought would be the end, and they were putting the chairs away. But I did manage to pinch one slice of cake there. So all one loss.
Thank goodness. I was worried then. 2 very competitive divisions. It's going to be interesting how this second half of the season carries on and continues. It's exciting.
I think it's worthwhile saying you go to Division 3, 4, 5 or 6 and you still got teams who want to win. Fishguard are a team desperate to move up through the divisions. They recruited Hugh Evans, who's one of the best players ever to come out of the county. He started with Dinas before they disbanded with his father and his brother. And if you look at him now, he can still play the game. He's not the Hugh Evans he was. He's still as competitive and as fiery, I hear. But, they're a side that want to go through, and I all credit to them. They want to go back up to the higher divisions, and every game has got a value for those players. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 100. As a footballer who's played in the lower divisions, every game still matters. And I love it. Yeah, it's exactly the same. You mentioned the Viking there, Adam scoring for the ladies. It's been according of competitive. The standards fantastic and competitive there as well.
We could talk about the whole show about ladies cricket because it's on the up. I saw a little bit of that game in Haverford, where Burton beat them 138 for 7. Haverford, 119 for 4. The Spirit there, Haverford, Lynn Ward 26, Pam Aston 25. Elaine Scale, 25 not out, and Rebecca Barton, the same for Burton. A little bit more about that after. In the other games in the first division, quickly, Cresselly won 3 for 3, beat Pembroke Dock 52 for 9. Cresselly had the strong side at the moment. Ellery Williams, 26. Lucy Johnson, 25 and 4 for 9. And Fiona Ashman, 25. They all bat really well. And they got to retire at 25, which is a pity. The Doc, Caris Lloyd, whose dad, Chris, is a well-known football coach. She had 12 there as the top score. And Hook beat Whitland 64 for 7. Whitland, Hook 65 for 1. Chloe Lewis 4 for 4. Casey Aaron, who used to play for Nayland, 25, and Kate Farr 19. Alice John, a top scorer for Nayland, with 19. And in the second division, very quickly, Pembroke 103 for 6 beat Kilgetty 62 all out. For Pembroke, there was some good bowling there. Bobby Neal 2 for 11, Leanne Panton 2 for 10, and Holly Allen 4 for 11. So that's a big win. Lovely name there. I love her name. Pembroke, one of the best batsmen there, Nirvana Thomas.
Nice.
And she had 19, so that was good. And amazing. Tish 136 for 2 beat Carew 117 for 6. Lindsay Picton, a former student of mine, she'll be talking well about that because that girl can talk. 25 not out, and Joe Bradshaw 25 not out, and the same for Lucy Sutton. And Lily Buckle at 25 not out for Carew. So loads going on, loads of good fun. Tom, when you're busy, but when you got a quiet Tuesday evening, Just pop and have a look at any local game of ladies cricket, and you'll see the word fun almost flashing, and skill as well, but fun, enjoyment, sheer enjoyment.
I think it's fantastic, and fun and enjoyment is what keeps these players coming back. And you've picked out a few snippets of cricketers. You mentioned earlier, if you want to be good at cricket, you need to have the name Charlie. Did you want to explain a bit more?
Yeah, I was just talking last week to a young fella, written an article called Charlie Arthur, whose father Julian was a good cricketer, but Charlie, I think, is going to be a better player. I think he's 16. He's opening the batting for Cresselly. He opened the batting for the county last week, seniors, and scored 44, opening the batting. And he's going to be a heck of an all-rounder and a lovely lad as well. Charlie Malloy then plays for Branston. His father David is in the team. Charlie Junior is a far better player already than Malloy Senior, and Di won't mind me saying that. And there's another youngster coming through there as well called Charlie Welsh, who's 14. His mum and dad are Joe and Andy are very, very keen to encourage him, and he's a good little player. He's already played for the Branston First this year, and in the Alacolli this week he was 16 not out helping his team win. So this seems to me that's the name, Charlie. You've got good players. To have three very quickly like that is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, crikey, Charlie. And just have a look here. You've picked out some other names for us as well for some good news as well.
Yeah, if you look at people in clubs, last week there was a good game of cricket at Saundersfoot, and one of the men who've done so much work there, Ollie Cook, is a young batsman who's 13. His dad Steve has played for donkey's years for Saundersfoot. But he was playing for them in the Alacolli this week, Ollie. He's 13. He's a left-arm medium-pace bowler and a right-hand batsman. 4 for 21 in senior cricket at 13. Wow. I had to spare a thought, though. The other end of the extreme in Saundersfoot is Roger Stanford, who's been a great club man. He played, he kept wicket, he batted. And he has been instrumental in Saundersfoot's rise. He does so much work there. And he scores for the team on a weekend. He was having a bit of a quiet night at Saundersfoot as they were playing, and Danny Kane, who's one of the biggest hitters in the county, Roger knows his hitting prowess, so he parked the car 95 metres from the wicket, and he parked it with the rear windscreen facing the ground. You can imagine what happens. Danny Kane sends one bang straight through the rear window, and and it's worse than the front windscreen because of course you've got the
heat.
But Tom, it's a strange phenomenon. I'm only saying it because it's a strange thing. I mean, everyone laughs when a cricket ball smashes a windscreen. It's my biggest nightmare going to cricket because people think it's so funny, and I wouldn't think it's funny to have to get
I wouldn't.
No, nobody does. But it happens in the Harrison Allen final sometimes, and everybody hoots. And, I know everyone's got £100 excess. I think what clubs ought to do is go around then with a hat and say, would you like... I was there, I'd have chipped in £1. There were 100 people there. We'd paid to success. Yeah. And it's a strange phenomenon in cricket. It's like when you're out in the snow in the winter, you see someone fall over, what do? You laugh. And then they got a broken hip or a broken leg. So, Rog, I'm sorry about your window, mate. If you want to start a little trust fund up, my quid would be the first in the till. So some characters there. And I thought we'd finish with characters. I denigrate Fraser Watson's cricket play a bit. He's a very good rugby player. He's also a very keen runner and a good runner. And I used to say he'd never make a good batsman because he played everything on the jump. But, he had 56 again last Saturday. He's a really improved wicketkeeper with Llanrhian, as well as being a great on-secretary. And I say he's worked hard with the gloves. This year he's had 66 not out, 40, 11 not out. He would say he's not a big hitter. I wasn't. But he's really improved as a cricketer. So, Watson, you won't be listening, but when you see this, it's the only time I'm ever praising his cricket. I'm not going to do anything more than that. I can't. But it's nice to see our boy doing well, isn't it?
It's really good, and it's been fantastic to see that improvement over the last 2 years since I've been involved in Pembrokeshire sport, of someone that's actually trying to get better and improving, and he's even had a century last year as well, didn't he?
I don't want to talk about that because my top score is 96. So I don't want to talk about him anymore now. Let's not
move
crack.
on. You
Because he'll
mentioned
start thinking he's a good cricketer. Well, he ain't that yet.
and then you mentioned he was a fantastic rugby player, as of course was Gordon Thomas in the day. And we're talking rugby in June because a draw's been made very quickly, Bill, because it's still summer.
Yeah, indeed, very quickly, because I get a bit fed up with the Welsh rugby. I mean, they've come out with the draw this year. They've altered that stupid championship they had last year for each division across Wales. So, mixing Division 3 teams, for example, but then having some teams playing 2 away games and some playing 1 away game. Fixtures not being fulfilled. It costs a lot of money for some clubs in Pembrokeshire, like St David's and Lang, who commit themselves to travel. So Neyland the same. So this year they've made an outright draw. The first round takes place early in September. The surprise, is a bit like the West Wales football. The championship draw, well done to Crymych for getting through, and they're now in the championship. Guess who they're playing? Of all the blinking teams who are available in rugby in Wales in championship divisions, in the first round out, Crymych versus Narberth. Great to watch.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to see two teams have a run. And in Division 3 West, some nice games there. Aberaeron against Larne. Betws are playing St David's. Cardigan at home to Brincoch. Cwm Llynfell playing Pembroke Dock Quins. Langham are at home to Cwm Gorth. That'll be a big crowd. Nandimole against Haverfordwest. New Dock Stars playing Neyland. And Pembroke are at home to Trimsaran. Interesting to see Pembroke down there. A lot of people still got their thoughts on that. That's on the 23rd of the 9th. We look at Divisions 1 and 2 quickly next week, Tom, but not too much detail.
No, not in too much detail. And before we go, we're going to say a big llongyfarchiadau to Blethyn Gibbs, gold medalist.
Bleth, well done. Yeah, he's a very keen sportsman, and he's a lovely guy. He's coached by one of the best in Simon Roach. I've known Simon since he was a young boy competing in weights. His father, Lynn, was a terrific ambassador for weightlifting, and Simon is the same. To see Simon there with him and his dad made my blinking day. Well done to Blair. That's all I can say. You must get him on the show on a Monday night, and with Dad or Simon as well, to say well done. That's deserved. What a wonderful achievement.
It's fantastic. So really well done. And on Monday evening on the Pure Sports Show, the Evans and Morris, you've been catching up. And, one person, you said her averages are going to be like no one else's.
Well, I don't think she'll have an average if you're not careful, because you've got to be out at least once. I bumped into Elaine Scale at the women's cricket. She was 25, retired again, not out. And I can remember Elaine when she first married James, and no children then. Now she's got 2 daughters who play, 2 nieces who play. And she's not ashamed to admit she's 60. She's come back to play now. Youngsters can learn so much from her. She's a class act. She's a bit like Sam Rossiter. They've played men's cricket and they've done well over the years. So Monday night, we're talking to Elaine about her rebirth, if you like, in cricket. And it's interesting. She's so keen to promote the sport, and she typifies the joy of women's cricket for me. So that's nice. And we've got 2 interviews with Stefan Phillips. Now, he plays rugby for a club. I used to play. He's not playing at the moment. Club Rugby Cardiff. And he's coaching the youth there at the moment. And he's playing a bit of 5-a-side football. Because late last year, he collapsed on a pitch in a game against us. And to all intents and purposes, would have died, but for the fact that there was a surgeon there who supports the club and another doctor, and they used a defibrillator, and they kept him going. And he told me he woke up 4 days later in hospital, wondering what he was doing there. He knew nothing about that intervening time. But now he's an ambassador for a Calon Heart, the charity which supplies defibrillators for sports clubs. And he's urging clubs to make sure they've got one, get a couple of people trained, because you never know. And he's from Crymych, and he's a lovely, lovely boy. So he's inspirational. So we'll be talking to him on Monday. And I think, Tom, they're 2 of the nicest segments I've ever done for the show. Inspirational. Yeah. So we got some nice things, and Fraser will have some as well. So you'll have the first hour will be packed with characters, I think.
As ever. And if you miss any of these Pure Sports Shows interviews that Bill and Fraser in particular curate throughout the week, then you can listen back at purewestradio.com on the catch-up. Bill, it's Feel Good Friday, and it wouldn't be Feel Good Friday without you giving us one of your fantastic tunes. What have you got for us today?
Well, they tend to be songs that Marilyn and I heard driving down the M4 when we go up to see Llewellyn and Helen, or on our way home. And I heard this one this week, and it's a bit bubblegummy, you know, it's a bit sing-along, but I like that. And it's by Love Affair, and it's called Everlasting Love. And it's a nice sing-along. You and I could sing along to it now, if you like. Yeah.
I'm going to, don't you worry. We have got Everlasting Love coming your way. Bill, as ever, thank you so much for your time and your efforts for promoting Pembrokeshire sport and for joining us on a Friday morning to give us the lowdown. Everlasting Love's on the way. Should we do this all again next week?
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Same here.
Tell everybody.
If you've got a Feel Good Friday song, we're going to be live on our social media collecting them because it is, well, the playlist is yours. In the meantime, Love Affair, Everlasting Love, with a bit of the Mavericks and Annie Lennox. Oh, we got some good tunes there. It's 7:35 here on Pure West Radio.
Feel Good Friday with Pem's Paving.